Dear student, today I want to describe the ancient history writings by colonial historians. You all know that there are many historians who described Indian history by the views of colonial historians. I mean, you all know that how British colonial historians wrote in history according their attitude, their thought, their views, and they express their views according colonial empire. They want to promote British Empire in India, and they all justified the British rule in India. You all know that the colonial historiography has a motive to promote British Empire in India. And you also know that they all justified the British rule in India. So they shown in their writings that the contemporary India was at a lower stage of civilization which needed improvement, and this was possible only through enlightened British colonial government. The Englishmen had a superiority complex that they think they are much civilized than any Asian countries men. They think that European civilization was much better than any other civilization in all over world. This thought is clearly so that in their history writings, like you know about T.R. Holmes, who wrote on the revolt of 1857. Holmes writes and he interprets the revolts of 1857 as a conflict between civilization and barbarism. It is it is so astonished that how Holmes thinks that the first Indian struggle for freedom, which called Englishmen as a revolt, and so-called historians also describe this first struggle of freedom of India, revolt of 1857, as Holmes is interpret it a conflict between civilization and barbarism. Superiority complex of Englishmen had so high level that called to Indian nigger or pig. You all know this fact that an Indian has no permitted to enter any hotel, any colony where was staying Englishmen. So they called Indian as a nigger or pig. It is how we considered Englishman as a civilized person. You also think that colonial historians wrote about to Indian that they are habitual of autocracy and not able to rule themselves. They are so busy to imbibe ultra physical problem than mortal problems. In this way, colonial historians tried to everywhere in their history writing demoralize Indian culture, literature, languages, society, knowledge, and yet everything which belong to India. There are some basic there are some basic trends which we find in colonial historiography. Are I want to put them to share with you. The colonial historiography promoted the causes of the British colonial rule in India. Second point, colonial historians believed that the contemporary India as a lower stage of civilization. They considered them as barbarians and they have a moral duty to civilize them. I, you can understand it that colonial historians think or considered Indian as barbarians, and so they have moral duty to civilize them. The theory of white man's burden is the consequence of this thought. Third point, colonial historians thought that the Western science and technology would serve to uplift the Indians into modern age. Thus, the backwardness of India could be improved only through the intervention of the British ideas and administration. Fourth point, in their writings, mostly colonial historians demonize Indian culture and literature. Everywhere, colonial historians writes wrote that against Indian civilization and literature, Indian society, and they disgraced Indian literature as called it very small and not progressive. Fifth point, according to colonial historians, that India has no history. They considered the past history of India just a collection of fables, legends, and myths. Sixth, colonial historians considered India as a stagnant country of stagnant villages and societies, and British rule put them path of progress. Seventh point, colonial historians considered the Indian society as divided in castes, communities, and sects. And in their writings, they made efforts to spread the division and so also imposed the theory of divide and rule. You also know that everywhere colonial historians focus on Indian society and its different differences. So, because they want to divide Indian society as various types, and so they much focus on Indian society as Varna, Asrama, etc. Eighth point, in the primary phase of Indian national movement, when Indian make the efforts for unity, the colonial historians called that India had not a nation in past, not in present, and never would be in future. They could not understand that India become a nation. But when they have seen clear signs of unity and nationalism in India, they considered it is unconsequences of British rule. Ninth point, colonial historiography promoted the idea of Oriental despotism, which meant that all the Indian kings and rulers were autocratic despots and the basic political character of India was despotic. So only British colonial government could the path of democracy, but by supplying democratic institution in India. It is so amazing. The England had not seen democracy in past. Even in modern age, in UK, in Great Britain, in England, there has constitutional monarchy, not democratic, not democracy. You also know it. Tenth point, many colonial historians showed a bitterly critical attitude towards growing national movement in India. They wrote against the national movement of India and called it not betterment of India, but sink India into political chaos and anarchy. They also thought that the Indians were ungrateful for agi- agitating against the benevolent rule of the British. You know, you all know these points and the views of colonial historians, and you can understand how the colonial historians considered India, Indian culture, and society. I have critically analyzed these points, so I have make a critical analysis on above mentioned point and tried to reply point to point. In this process, I have quoted various colonial historians views on their history writing about India and make a critical observation to perspective of England and Englishmen. I have compared history writing by colonial historians with others and described the views against colonial history writing. In this way, we can see the main characters of colonial historians that they tried everywhere in their writings to justify British rule in India. For example, mostly colonial historians had same views on the point according to E. Sridharan, James Fitzjames Stephens had written in his book Liberty, Equality, Fraternity 1873 sought to give a firm moral basis to the British rule in India. Stephens, a historian, argued he had argument was that the essential function of Britain in India is similar to the ancient Rome's in the Mediterranean world. Britain had not only developed the highest ideal of social happiness, but in Bentham's legislative science had devised a scientific instrument of enforcing it. Since only Britain could perform the task of civilizing India within a framework of law, the British Indian government thought only a minority resting on force had to remain for all foreseeable future. None could have written a better apology for imperialism. Another colonial historians in Henry Mene, one hand he fully accepted the Aryan theory and believed that even the Indian village community was an Aryan institution, surviving in full vigor, and other hand he used this theory to justify British rule in India. According to Sridharan, Hindi Mane employed the theory not in India's favor but only a justification of British dominion. In his history writing, same views concluded by J. Tolvois Wheeler. Like Charles Grant or James Mill, he accepted that India had been saved from the most hopeless of anarchies only by the introduction of European rules. In this way, Wheeler also justified the British rule in India. Evangelicals also justified the British rule in India, like Shore and Grant, backed by the missionaries, attempted to justify British rule in India as an event that was divinely concerned and preordained for redeeming a condemned humanity, and they tried to change Indian society through conversion and education. You can you can understand that how colonial historians tried to justify conversion in India, in Indian religion. Colonial historians believed that the contemporary India as lower stage of civilization. They considered them as barbarians and they have a moral duty to civilize them. The theory of white man's burden is the consequence of this thought. James Mill clearly represented the as above. Although Mill never came to India, did not know any Indian language. He never read any Indian book like Vedas, Puranas, Epic, etc. His total work based entirely on partial study of books and materials on India written and collected by other writers of England. He did not have much use of the voluminous data gathered by the East India Company from India and wrote a mainly judgmental history. In this form of history, if facts for a particular argument could not be found about one country, facts about other countries could be supplied to fill the gaps. He did this degrade and demean the Indian, particularly the Hindu civilization. In his writing, James Mill set an extremist tone to downgrade Indian civilization and future. This is very astonished work of James William, James Mill. It is you all I think all historians and history student by who love history student of history read Mill, read about James Mill, read history by written James Mill. But you should know that James Mill never came to India, did not know any Indian language. He never read any Indian book. But after all, he wrote about India, di- about Indian language, Indian society, and everywhere he demonized Indian society, Indian culture, Indian languages. Colonial historians had a popular view that by British rule that the Western science and technology would serve to uplift the Indian into modern age. Thus, the backwardness of India could be improved only through the intervention of the British ideas and administration. In the support of this Gottlob write about James Mill that Mill conceived history as a process of civilization. Moreover, moreover, while William Jones tried to find closeness between British and Indian culture, Mill emphatically laid stress on evolutionary gap between contemporary Indian society and the progressive West. Fourth point of criticism in the mostly colonial historians like James Mill and T.V. Macaulay demonize Indian culture and literature. In that consideration, the Indian society was very backward and no progressive. They expressed the view that Indian society was dominated by caste, privileges, and prejudices, and that it could never improve except through enlightened despotism. But these historians never discussed about slavery system and its demerits in European context. By that viewpoint, colonial historians wrote the British rule in preparing to Indian for democratic administration. Like Alfred Noble as historians attempt to prove that British rule is trying to Indian to rule himself. Mostly colonial and foreign historians made a view that ancient Indian historiography that there was a lack of historical sense in ancient India. A.V. Keith writes, despite the abundance of its literature, history is so miserably represented that in the whole of the great period of Sanskrit literature, there is not or not on writer one on writer who can be seriously regarded as a critical made a viewpoint against colonial historians' views. In this context, I want to make some critical analysis against colonial historians as colonial historians argued that Indian languages have not prosperous literature. Macaulay said that the all books of Sanskrit were not more than an almirah of European literature. But he had not read deeply any Sanskrit book. Against this argument, I want to explain that English literature had not any prosperous literature because it is not an ancient language. It was a language in 13th to 14th century AD. English became popular in India because it is a language of rulers. Otherwise, it has not any special quality. Second point, Indian society had demoralized many ways by colonial historians like caste, varna, etc. But they forget that there was a meanest system of slavery in all over Europe, which was against humanity. And feudal lord like lord, landlord, marquis, duke are even prevalent in England till date. You also know it. Colonial historians condemned Indian culture and did not consider it like Greece and Roman. But excavation of Harappa, it is made a prominent culture of all over world. It is only single civilization in all over world which has well developed drainage system and master planned cities. Fourth point, colonial Colonial and many other foreign historians argued that there was a historical sense in ancient India whether India has its own history. In Vedas, there was history considered as fifth Veda. In ancient India, history had considered a subject which teaches us by its incidents. So, Indian considered history only a collection of positive incidents. There is a definition of history in Mahabharata that history is called that ancient history which teaches us dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Modern historians and mostly Western historians consider Herodotus as father of history, and his writing appreciated as moral lesson of history. But when he included dreams, oracles, visions, and divine warning of approaching evil, his writing makes suspicious. His childlike curiosity sometimes led to childlike credulity. Indeed, Strabo wrote that there was much nonsense in Herodotus. You should know that we Indians considered Herodotus as father of history. But Strabo wrote about Herodotus. He wrote that much nonsense in Herodotus. He thought that the semen, Herodotus thought that the semen of Ethiopians was black. Egyptian cats jumped into fire. Danuvians got drunk on mere smells. The Titus of Athena at Pedasus grew a mighty beard. Nebuchadnezzar Chan- Nebuchadnezzar was a woman and that the Alps were a river. But he wrote in self-defense. I am under obligation to tell what is reported, but I am not obliged to believe it and let this hold for every narrative in the history. When Herodotus wrote all these things, then how could we consider him as a moral historian? Other side, he wrote a history of war, then context of modern definition of history. where history is the study of all kind of events related humankind, be fulfilled, whether in Veda text referred all event and concern of human life. Historians, in this way, many foreign scholars and colonial historians wrote about ancient India that there was a lack of an indigenous tradition of historiography. Colonial historians considered Indian society as stagnant society and villages. I have already discussed on it. The colonial historians had conclusion that the Brahminical class threw all manual labor on to the lowest caste and itself become so weak as a permit more vigorous people to invade and dominate India. In this way, colonial historians justify the victory of England on India. Some colonial historians show a bitterly critical attitude toward growing a national movement in India. They wrote against the national movement of India and called it microscopic minority or a group of selfish and irresponsible minority. These all things are written by colonial historians against India, and everywhere they demoralize in honesty. In conclusion, due to problem of light, I want to conclude my topic. In this way, we understand the motive of colonial historians to justification British rule in India and demoralize the Indian culture to establish its supremacy and build a superiority on Indian. They tried to underestimate Indian civilization and show that themselves to serve in India betterment. They also show that Indian has no experience of rule, so English are analyzing India to give the ruling knowledge. Consequently, we see its result as once Gopal Krishna Gokhale said that only Englishmen are able to maintain law and order in India. I want to focus that how Indian mindset changed by colonial historians, history writings. We Indians are thinks that and so thinking that only Englishmen are able to maintain law and order, and Gopal Krishna Gokhale is same. I think it is the result of colonial thinking which developed colonial mindset in India. Same as D.N. Jha wrote, nevertheless, true that British rule on early Indian history with a view to providing historical justification for the Raj, British rule, and its exploitation of Indian resources. I want to describe some points. Alfred Loyal desired to correct misconception about India so easily succumbed to British attack was not so much the disunity that prevalent at the time or the absence of nationalities, but the failure to develop any other principle of government than that of personal ascendancy, where Greece experimented with all sort of governments such as monarchy, aristocracy, oligarchy, plutocracy, democracy, tyranny, and dictatorship. And Rome had its republic and later its empire. India did not know any other form of government except monarchy. This is the view of Alfred Loyal. He wrote that Indian know only monarchy, which views were totally wrong. We should know that in past India has Ganatantra. We know about Malla and two Ganatantra in India's, which was researched by Jaiswal, Professor K.B. Jaiswal. As above mentioned point, it is clearly that by every means colonial historians justified British rule in India and gave so much logic and apologies for this. But their all arguments could not be permanently existence. Indian nationalist historians and other countered them and it also assumed by colonial historians that Indian could not rule themselves because they have not any experience of democracy. But when K.B. Jaiswal revealed the fact of Indian republics, it does be a point of proud to every Indian. It is also a major point that the Englishmen had not any experience of democracy because England never been under democracy. I have focused it also, and so you understand that how British historians and other colonial historians demonized Indian civilization, Indian culture, Indian languages, Indian society, and argued and justified the British rule in India.